Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Salvatore here. We are so excited to host a special lesson with a guest teacher coming from the Penn Museum that is going to talk to us about mummifying and mummies. And before our lesson today, I want you to see and listen to some of the words that might be used in this presentation, so that you know what they mean. So we are talking about mummies, and mummies originate from Egypt. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can learn some vocabulary words and you can see what it is. So the first question I would ask you is, what does it mean to mummify? Mummify. Mummify, or people mummify animals or people to preserve their body, okay? So here are some words that I want you to listen for in the presentation and understand them now. The first word is natron. Natron. Natron looks like this. It looks like salt because it is salt. It is a natural salt found in the Nile River, okay, on the banks of the Nile River. The ancient Egyptians used natron to dry out bodies during the mummification process. Remember, they want to keep the body intact and preserve it, and they need natron to do this, to dry out all of the water and moisture. Natron is our first vocabulary word. The next vocabulary word is resin. Resin. Resin is like a glue. Think of a strong tape and glue. It is a sticky, gluey, tacky kind of substance made from plants. It is used to wrap the bodies with linen to mummify. So once they use the natron to dry up and get all the water and the moisture out of a body or an animal, they paint with this resin, and then they would wrap with linen, okay, with cotton or kind of like a sheet in little strips. Think like toilet paper, but only it's actually made of cloth. Okay, resin is our second vocabulary word. And the other word that I want you to listen for today and to understand is canopic jars. Canopic jars. These jars, as you can see here, are jars or containers where they store the mummy's organs, okay? Like their intestines that comes from around your stomach, or sometimes your brain, okay? These are all organs. You're going to hear the presenter talk about canopic jars and what goes in those jars. These canopic jars were then placed inside a canopic chest and then placed in the tomb. So the tomb, you'll see, is kind of like a casket, but it is where the body is, and they paint it and they make it very nice to look at. And those are our vocabulary words I want you to focus on today. Again, we have natron, resin, and canopic jars. Okay, and I want to show you a quick video so that you can see what it means to mummify, so that you have some background knowledge about the mummification process. Okay, let's learn, look, and listen about the mummification process, since that is what we are going to be learning about in our special guest lesson. I want you to know what that means.
This is a mummy of a young man named Heraclides. He died in Egypt in the 1st century AD when he was about 20 years old. Mummification was developed by the ancient Egyptians to preserve the body for the afterlife. Typically, all internal organs were removed before mummification, with the exception of the heart. But in this case, the heart was removed and the lungs were left intact. Next, the body was covered with salt and left for about 40 days until all moisture was eliminated. Perfumed oils and plant resins were rubbed on the body. Thick layers of resin were applied to glue the strips of linen that were wrapped around the body. The mummy was placed on a wooden board and more wrappings bound them together. A mysterious pouch, perhaps of religious significance, was placed on the chest. A mummified ibis, a wading bird with a slender, down-curved bill, was placed on the abdomen. Ibis mummies commonly served as votive offerings to the gods, but this is an unusual case of a bird being mummified with a deceased human. Long linen strips further secured the wrappings. A portrait panel of Heraclides was placed over the face. A large linen cloth was wrapped around the mummy. The shroud was painted red with an imported lead-based pigment. This treatment is rare. Very few red shroud mummies are known to exist. Egyptian symbols of protection and rebirth were painted on the outer cloth with pigments and gold. Finally, Heraclides' name was written in Greek at the feet. Thanks to this remarkable mummification process, Heraclides' body is with us today.
Okay, so let's just recap. We have a special lesson today with the Penn Museum coming up. And before that lesson, I would like you to watch this video so that you know what some of the vocabulary words mean. So by the end of today's lesson, you should be able to explain and know what it means to mummify, and how do we mummify? What do we need? We need natron, which is a vocabulary word. What is natron? And we need resin. Resin is one of our vocabulary words. What is resin? So if you know what resin, natron, and mummify means, then you will understand the lesson today so much better. Okay, and now you are able to see what it means to mummify by watching that short video. So I hope you get your questions ready. I hope that you're ready because today it's going to be a great lesson and I want all of you to experience the fun and still be able to understand some of the words. So I will see you later. Have a great day.